Hello everybody, continuing on with our NHL season previews. Today talking about the Florida Panthers, pre-recorded video, but their cap situation kind of makes it to where you can pre-record it. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you are new, if you're interested in hockey. I'm trying to do this full-time as a job, so if you would please subscribe and watch the videos. If you think you're going to, stick around, please do so. I would appreciate it greatly. Now let's talk about the Panthers. And this is a team that underwent a lot of changes compared to last season. For starters, their head coach Joel Quenneville resigned after the Chicago Blackhawks assault scandal was released. And then interim head coach, I should say, Andrew Brunette filled in for him to only be replaced by Paul Maurice. And that just really blows my mind after you had the Panthers have a franchise-altering season for the better. My main question for the Panthers will be, will this head coaching change be the right decision? There's doubt, in my mind at least, that Maurice was the better option, just because I know he might have more coaching experience at the top level compared to Brunette, but I'm still left wondering if they should have at least stuck with Coach B for another year. My logic behind this is that the Panthers hadn't done much in quite a while as a franchise, and then boom, Brunette comes in to fill in for Quenneville and does a great job at being a head coach in the NHL level. They went an impressive 51-18-6 underneath him in 75 regular season games before winning the franchise's first playoff series since the 1996 playoffs. They won the President's Trophy, for crying out loud. I do know that they didn't show up in the second round, but I would have liked to see him come back and get another kick at the can, but he's not now. And I think he's in New Jersey, New Jersey or Philadelphia as an assistant coach again. And while I'm not arguing with the fact that Maurice has been able to guide his teams to the postseason before, what has he done in that time? I'm not trying to be mean here, but his biggest accomplishment is the 2002 Cup run where the Hurricanes ended up losing to the Red Wings. Holy cow, that team was pretty good. But in the other 23 seasons he's coached, his teams have only made it to the conference finals 2 other times, and of course have not made it to the Cup final at all outside of that 02 season. And that's not necessarily the biggest problem either here. I know that when we did videos covering his time in Winnipeg, we really had to talk about the defensive issues that Winnipeg had, especially their blue line, as well as the team not playing certain players as much as they probably should, etc. Stuff like that really was things that bothered me. Connor Hellebuck really bailed them out too, as you had one of the better goalies in the league. I know some people don't think that, but I think he is a top 5 goalie, bailing out this team that probably shouldn't have made the playoffs some years because of their defensive issues. Maybe it's just me, but I'm wishing we got to see a rerun of Brunette. That's all I have to say there. And a big issue with Maurice is he's already going to have to deal with what they have to do right now, which is the offseason losses that this team took. And notably the fact that they lost guys like Claude Giroux, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, etc. Some of these players were definitely leaving, like Giroux was not going to be sticking around, and I understand that. But losing some of these other guys, especially like Huberdeau and Weegar, could be a big impact. The question then becomes, how good are the Panthers after they give up multiple assets and ended up not only losing the assets, but a lot of the players as well? There is questions galore to talk about here, as yes, they do have talented guys on their roster like Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart, and more. But in my opinion, this roster looks less competitive than last year heading into the postseason. And so I think that's going to be a storyline here. How Maurice molds this roster or adjusts this roster will impact how the team does. They'll also have to figure out how this situation is going to work in net. You look at last year, Sergei Bobrovsky had a good year as their starting goalie. It was his first good year really in South Florida, with Spencer Knight coming on to fill in for Bobrovsky in the backup role. Will that change this year? There's a variety of things we could talk about. It's always hard to tell with goalies. How will they do? Bob had a good year, like I said, but who's to say he doesn't come back down to earth? And I don't know. I think that's going to be a big thing. Whereas Knight is young, was taken high in the draft, and is a playoff hero because of how he did in Game 5 against Tampa Bay 2 postseasons ago, and is kind of viewed as the future of the franchise in between the pipes. Do they start a transition this year? That's a very plausible question, knowing that Knight is an RFA after this season. Do they want to start handing him the reins? And if they do start going towards a 1A, 1B route, do they want to do it quickly or slowly? Maybe they want to make Knight their starter from the get-go to start off this campaign. Through these last, 2 things I wanted to say, I think the thing is with Knight, one, He's 21, so it doesn't seem like he's going to be the starter just yet. It doesn't have a ton of NHL action, and we know that goalies are developed a little bit slower. 2, Bobrovsky is still in the middle of his 7-year, $70 million contract that he signed with the Panthers, and we all know that the management would receive such a big backlash if he would not be a starter, because he is due to make $12 million this season. Could you imagine paying a guy $12 million just to start 25, 30 games? I couldn't. How these two will start off the year will almost certainly decide how things go, though. And I gotta be honest, at the end of the day, better play always beats out how much someone is paid if you're a competent organization. There is no reason why Bobrovsky should be the starter, regardless of how much money he's making, if he is playing poorly and Knight is playing well. So, having talked about all those things, I think we can just say that I do think they should be competitive, but do I think they are playoff good? That is a big thing. The answer is, I don't know. The team is currently listed as having the second best preseason odds of making the playoffs, according to DraftKings, but I'm not sold on it being that high. Yes, they are coming off a season that was their best regular season in franchise history, but like we've already said, losing guys like Weegar is going to hurt. Yes, you brought in Tkachuk, so maybe the loss of Huberdeau won't be felt as badly, but you paid Tkachuk pretty heavily, and I think that they are going to be feeling these big contracts going forward as they're in a pinch, and they're going to be relying on multiple guys to step up, and if they don't, they have a big problem. Do I think I can see Florida making the playoffs? Yes, Matthew Tkachuk. Like I said, he's going to have to play well in South Florida. They're going to have to get consistent goaltending. Do I also see them missing? Also, I do think they could. If they can't find stability in net with Bobrovsky or Knight, that's going to be problem in general. And then remembering, too, that since they lost Weegar, the defensive impact off the blue line will be felt. And, of course, other guys, possibly like Verhaeghe, Bennett, etc., if they regress after having big years, that could be a big problem for this team, and the Cats could be in trouble. But do you think the Florida Panthers will make the playoffs this year? Let me know down below in the comment down below. Again, it's kind of like a 50-50, like a toss-up, so we'll have to see, but let me know what you think. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everybody, please stay safe, have a great night, and you go off hockey, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.